Hi, my name is Pat Monteith, and I'd like to thank you for inviting me to do this presentation for you about choosing to use a learning management system or a non-login open website. A learning management system, LMS, is a software application for the administration, documentation, tracking, reporting, and delivery of electronic educational technology courses. As you probably know, a learning management system is a licensed closed system with a password-protected security system that can only be accessed by the school's teachers and students by using a login. OpenWeb systems have many but not all of the features and security of an LMS, and they use open access platforms. While each of these systems has great benefits, they each also have their own issues and concerns. The main benefits of an LMS are that all elements of a class are housed in the school's computer servers, with the username and password required login by the school's teachers and students. LMSs have a lot of features that allow teachers to manage and keep track of all parts of a course, including assignments and a student's participation in tests, quizzes, and discussions. They even allow for easy grading of assignments. Because the LMS is on the school computer, the school becomes responsible for any technical problems and with assisting teachers and students when there's a problem. One of the biggest benefits of an LMS is that it's a secure, restricted system, so teachers can use the same copyright guidelines for materials as they use in the classroom. One of the main issues with an LMS is they can be difficult to learn, especially with setting up a class for the first time. Also, because of the restricted access security issues, it's difficult to allow external guests and visitors to participate in classes or to interact with students without involving the school's administration. The main benefit of a non-login open web system is student familiarity with Web 2.0 elements and look of these systems, so it might be easier to get students to participate immediately rather than having to learn another system. Teachers can set up these systems themselves without having to go through obtaining the permission of the school's administration, unless, of course, the school has made it clear that use of these open source systems are prohibited. And using these avoids restrictions that your school administration might impose. A real benefit is that since they're free to use at an introductory level, these systems are much easier to learn than an LMS system purchased by the school, and you won't need a school IT person for setup. And although you probably can't get the school's tech support to assist with problems, there are usually online tech groups and online forums that can help. These systems let users obtain regularly released available updates which are accessible to everyone. External guests can participate as expert speakers because users can be added by the teacher without waiting for an administrator or a tech support person. This also makes it easier for collaboration with external organizations, especially in other countries. Google Sites, and probably many others, have other Web 2.0 interactive features as well. Many open source systems have some level of privacy settings, but there really is no guarantee that they are as secure as what would be found on a school LMS system. Okay, so maybe your school has invested in an LMS and you're frustrated with learning about and using all the features it has. Or maybe you feel trapped because it doesn't work the way you would like it to work and you can't access the source code. And you know it's going to take forever for the next version of the software to be released. Besides, your students are always losing, or using the excuse that they've lost, their usernames and passwords. Now that you think about it, wouldn't it be great to easily interface something like Google Sites with all the other Google products you use? So you've decided to go off on your own to find and use one of the free non-password protected systems. But wait, not so fast. Here are some key issues to consider. You've got your own ideas about how to teach. Maybe you don't want to be assimilated by your school like a Borg on Star Trek. But are open source systems all they seem to be? If they're not part of an existing school system, does this mean you might end up with more work by having to enter grades and other student info manually? Ugh. What about other considerations? You may not have any intentions of leaving your job, but what if you won the lottery? If some student records and assignments were created on a system external to the school, it can be a pain to transfer this access to someone else. Or worse, maybe the student information or materials will be lost or their accounts terminated. Open websites put students in the situation of having to learn a variety of systems at the same school. Students might get frustrated if they must learn how to use a variety of tools instead of one LMS, especially if they have to go to one website to complete one assignment, then to another website to complete a different task. What if one of these external sites shuts down for repairs or upgrades while a student is working on a project? The student might not be able to submit work on time, or some or all of the work might be lost. Is an open web system really free and easy to use? What's free today isn't necessarily free tomorrow. Are there potential hidden costs? And what if your students exceed the storage limits or connect to an upgraded service? Someone has to pay the additional costs. Will you get the same level of security with a free system as you would with one that has a fee? What are some of the other considerations? How about technical support? Unless you're tech savvy or know somebody who is, you may end up struggling through any problems, because the school ID department will not help. It's not their software. And what about advertising on those sites? The use of free software might mean that students are bombarded with advertising. This is how the software developers make their money to create the free software. Would parents approve of these ads? What about copyright issues? As you know, teachers and students are required to obtain copyright permissions. School fair use copyright privileges might not be applicable to teachers and students who decide to act as individuals rather than a member of an educational community. Are you willing to defend the work of all your students to anyone who lodges a copyright complaint? What's your liability? Schools are responsible for school safety. Is the school liable, or are you liable if you're not using their system? You'll have to put procedures in place to make sure students are aware of the risks involved in using these tools and of different safeguards to protect them. Here's a great example. Pen Pal Schools, a standards-aligned site which can connect your students to more than 70,000 other students in 70 countries around the world for free. The site is set up for students aged 9 and older. Doesn't that sound incredible? But when you read the fine print, you'll see that they admit to collecting personal information, and that collected info may be used by third parties. As the teacher who set up non-password protected open source sites, you are not only responsible for checking this out before you introduce your students to a site like this, but for privacy settings and any misuse or abuse of the system. Do your school policies prohibit you from using open source? Do you even know? Do you have a good lawyer? Here's one of the most important considerations: parental permission. It's highly probable that parents have signed a release form that allows the material created by their children to be posted on school websites. But even if parents signed a release for a student's likeness, work, or voice to be posted on a teacher, school, or district website for educational purposes, will it cover these open source situations? Are you willing to ensure that your student's material is properly covered by copyright laws? Do you have a good lawyer? So in the end, the choice is yours. Make a wise choice for the sake of your students and yourself.